Namaste and welcome to the Hindu Dharma Basics and Beyond podcast, a podcast that is based on the book by the same name by Swami Viditatmananda Saraswati. This podcast answers your questions about Hindu Dharma, a wholesome, holistic way of life based on the vision of non duality. I am Swamini Tattva Vidyananda, a Hindu monk and teacher of Vedanta, the wisdom that liberates. Come, let's explore together this ancient wisdom and way of life that makes our life meaningful and seeks to bring out the beauty, love, and kindness inherent in each of us. Today, we continue with the broad topic of who is a Hindu and what is Hinduism, and seek answers to three questions. How can I become a Hindu? Are there commandments in Hinduism? And what is the purpose of life according to Hinduism? How can one become a Hindu? Hinduism is very broad minded and inclusive. It does not consider one's individual tradition, background, or place of origin to be important. As long as you follow the fundamental principles of the Vedas, such as following the right values and having the right perception of life, you are a Hindu and qualify to attain moksha or liberation, which is the ultimate goal of Hinduism. Swamiji says in the book that as far as he knows, there are no rituals or ceremonies to perform to become a Hindu. In fact, Hinduism does not preach or practice conversion. Anyone wanting to practice Hinduism is automatically included in the fold. There is historical evidence that Hinduism spread far and wide beyond the borders of India to China, Java, Sumatra, and other distant places. It is by willing acceptance and not conversion that one becomes a Hindu. Are there commandments in Hinduism? If by commandments you mean absolute rules that may not be violated under any condition, there are none, because no rule can be absolute. Rules may be universal, yet what a given rule means in a specific situation is subject to interpretation. Hinduism teaches values, and the ultimate purpose of following these values is to bring about greater good, growth for everyone, and harmony. What a value such as non-violence, truthfulness, etc., mean in any situation is determined by the individual. For example, causing physical harm to a person, such as wounding them with a knife, is considered as himsa, violence. However, a surgeon will knowingly and deliberately cut open a person's body to take out a diseased part, or in case of an orthopedic surgeon, to join broken bones. So, even though the patient experiences immense pain and discomfort for some time after the surgery, the end goal is to improve the quality of his or her life. Thus, for a surgeon, use of sharp instruments to cut a body part is not considered as violence. Similarly, truth is a value that everyone is expected to practice. However, if a person has given shelter to someone who is seeking refuge from an assailant, he or she may lie to the assailant, saying he or she has not seen the person the assailant is seeking. Here, telling a lie is considered essential because it saves the life of a person. Practicing Hinduism calls for wisdom to determine what a given value means in any given situation. How does one know if his or her interpretation of values is correct in any given situation? If every human being is bound by his or her own limitations, then their ability to interpret values in any given situation can also be limited. It is true, and that is why Hinduism has stories of great heroes and saints contained in the Itihasas and Puranas that teach us all the lessons we need to be able to decide correctly. We all know the story of Ramayana. In that great epic, we know that Kaikeyi was entitled to ask for boons from her husband, King Dasharatha. However, on the eve of Ram's coronation, when she demanded that Rama should be sent to the forest for 14 years, she did not exercise her wisdom when asking for the boons. She only thought of what was beneficial to her and did not consider how her demand would affect her husband, her son Bharata, the rest of the family, or the nation. Let me repeat. There are universal values that Hinduism teaches, but there are no absolute commandments about what should or should not be done. This does not mean that Hinduism is permissive or that values are subjective. It is important to recognize that in the relative world, nothing can be called the truth at all times or in all places and conditions. For instance, one of the rules states, Satyam bruyat priyam bruyat, na bruyat satyam apriyam, priyam cha nanritam bruyat, esha dharma sanatanaha. May you speak the truth, yet in a pleasant manner. If you find that the truth is unpleasant, then you may not speak that. May you speak the pleasant, but not if it is untruth. This indeed is the eternal Dharma. These are some guidelines to help us understand the meaning of speaking the truth. What is the purpose of life according to Hindu philosophy? In Hinduism, moksha, the release from all bondage, limitation, pain, and sorrow, is the purpose of life. It can also be called liberation or freedom from the cycle of birth and death. Unlike other forms of life, which have no other purpose than sustenance, procreation, and self preservation, human life has a higher purpose. The human being is unique in being dissatisfied with himself and his environment. This causes sorrow, and as a result, he has a constant desire to change himself and the world around him. All his actions are aimed at becoming free from the limitations and inadequacies he perceives in himself and correcting the shortcomings he sees everywhere. He is constantly in search of satisfaction and happiness, or in other words, total freedom from sorrow. This is the end everyone pursues, knowingly or unknowingly. Hence, moksha or abidance in boundless happiness and total freedom from sorrow and bondage is the goal of human life according to Hinduism. In our next episode, we will explore the broad topic of Hindu scriptures, epics, and literature. We end with a prayer, Asato ma sadgamaya, O Lord, lead me from untruth to truth. Tamaso ma jyotirgamaya, lead me from darkness of ignorance to the light of knowledge. Mrityorma amritam gamaya. Lead me from death to immortality. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Satyameva Jayate. Truth alone conquers.